There we are. All right. Hello. Welcome back. Another Sunday, another episode, yada, yada, yada. I've run out of intros, as we all know by now. So let's just jump in and have our guest introduce themselves today.
Hello, everyone. I am Mega RetroMan. I'm a casual and competitive retro game player and speedrunner of various games. And thank you for having me.
Oh, no problem. Appreciate you coming on the show and showing off the sick background.
Yes, I am actually very, very proud of this.
Let's see a Power Glove, some NWC originals,
mm-hmm.
some good
I've got,
stuff.
I've got repros of the 1990 NWC, 1991 Campus Challenge, PowerFest 94, and somewhere in there is a 92 Campus Challenge for the Super Nintendo.
Hmm. Is that all the ones they did back then?
Yeah, plus the Star Fox Super Weekend, which
Hmm.
you'll see the original cart right here. That cost me a pretty penny, and then the Donkey Kong Country competition.
Wow. I forget they've had so many of those back then and then just stopped forever.
Yeah, the early '90s was something else, and it's a shame that they stopped when they did.
hmm Especially now, there's so much active retro competition. It'd be a lot larger. I know they brought back some stuff here and there for like once or twice, but nothing really stuck
hmm
around.
Yeah, when they brought it back, when was it? 2013, 2015. I want to say 2015. They brought it back. I thought it was a cool concept, and I'm just it's a shame that they just didn't stick with it. They did it for another year or two, and then they just said, "Yeah, okay, we're good."
Yeah, they can never just stick to something cool for too long, I guess. But oh well.
Come on, Nintendo.
Well, I guess we should start with you now. Um, go back to how you started retro gaming and being competitive at it.
Okay, well, I f- let's start with the beginning. I got my Nintendo Christmas of 1988. Had no idea what a video game was until that was presented to me Christmas at my grandparents' place, and we ended up hooking it up. Super Mario Brothers and Duck Hunt, per the usual, and I was hooked ever since. I just they couldn't get me off that controller, and man, I have so many stories as a kid. Probably, I think one of my favorites was, as a kid, you have nap time, and I have a younger sister, so we have to kind of keep it quiet. Well, instead of taking a nap, I was sitting on the floor playing NES with the volume all the way down. I was playing Mega Man 3 and wasn't making any noise. And suddenly I see the door, or I hear the door open up behind me, and there's my mom. And she has that kind of look of a surprise. We're maintaining eye contact for like a good 10 seconds. Nothing is said. And then she just goes and slowly shuts the door.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Best case
That's
scenario.
one of my favorites. Excuse me. As far as the competitive aspect, I didn't really get into competitive retro gaming until 2013 when I entered my first tournament at the Seattle Retro Gaming Expo. They had a event called Arcade Armageddon, which was a tournament slash chiptune concert.
Hmm.
And the games that the qualifying game was the 1990 NWC, and I was like, "Hey, I know that game. I'm pretty decent at it." You know, at the time, decent was like a 700,000. So, um, today 700,000 ain't much compared to what myself and others have done, but I took second seed on that, and then the the lineup for the tournament was 10-man Saturn Bomberman, 2-player Sonic 2, Street Fighter 2 Turbo, and then a mystery final which ended up being Ice Climber.
I'm so sorry.
Um yeah, so at that time when they announced who qualified to participate in the tournament, they took the top 20 scores. And I told my friends, "Yo, I've never played a Bomberman game ever." So we checked out Super Bomberman for the Super Nintendo and just kind of gave me a quick, you know, 2-minute rundown of what they could teach me. And I did actually end up qualifying, or moving on to the next round at the very last round. Um then Sonic 2 I've been playing since I was a kid, so I was pretty familiar with it. They did the 2-player battles. I wasn't thrilled that they had us do the bonus stage
Mm.
instead of like Emerald Hill or Mystic Cave or Casino Night or whatever those stages. And then I ended up moving on to that, to Street Fighter 2 Turbo, and I overheard my opponent ask his friends, "So how do I block?"
Mm.
And I overheard that, and my friend's right next to me. I'm like, dude, I think I've got this." And what they did was they had us pre-select the characters that we were going to be using, and it was a best 3 out of 5. And whoever won their match had to switch characters. So I kept it simple, chose Sagat, Ken, and Ryu. And I ended up getting a double perfect on the last round. And I remember the the color commentators was like, "Come on, give it up for give it up for the whoever I was going against." And the crowd was just like, "No."
Damn.
No.
Rough.
Yeah. Yeah. Poor guy was just getting slaughtered. But and then mystery game, like I said, was Ice Climber. And again, that was a game I had never touched until that day. So they gave us one round to kind of test the waters with the game, see how everything works. And I was just like, okay, let's see how this goes. And I ended up winning it. Um, I remember I was trying to grab the condor up at the top of the level, and I was having a terrible time doing so. And I could hear somebody from way back, like, I think you have to press the attack button to grab it. And he was saying, "Use the attack button." And so
That's news to me,
I
if that's true.
yeah. I thought it was just a simple jump and it wasn't connecting.
Mm-hmm. No, yeah,
And
the hitbox is stupid.
yeah. So that was my start, and then I became a regular through Arcade Armageddon. I did win that tournament that year. Um, the next year, I made it to the finals and lost to a friend of mine. The final game was Super Dodgeball, which that was a funny one too, because I forgot how to switch characters, and my friend forgot how to jump.
Hmm.
So, and then the year after, I ended up winning probably one of the best arcade Armageddon finals we'd ever had. It was me versus a guy named Eric. We it was ice hockey, and that went to a shootout, and then nobody scored, and then that went to a I think a 2 or 3 minute. It
Hmm.
doesn't go off real time, but it was like a 2 or 3 minute sudden death, um, where they pull the goalies.
Oh.
Yeah, so there's going to be a winner, and I ended up winning that. So I ended up being the only multiple time Arcade Armageddon finalist and winner. And then the years after, the guy that normally ran it asked me to help him run the tournament. So I said, sure. So we had I think like another 3 or 4 years of Arcade Armageddon until he moved away and it was just put in my possession, and um I couldn't continue on because of work schedule. But one of the years was I was hoping for the finals to be along the level of what ice hockey was, if not slightly better. And what that was the ending scene to Super Metroid,
Hmm.
where you have to fight Mother Brain and escape. Well, the bummer about that was the the finalists both had never played Super Metroid.
Well.
And I'm just like, man, this was supposed to be a really good finals, and now it's but because these guys have never played this, they don't know what to do. They don't know where to go. This is awful. So I actually had to help the players route their way out of out to their ship, because I think each of them died like 2 or 3 times trying to escape. So it was taking too long. I was just like, okay, go here, go there, jump up here and fall down here and then climb back up, yada yada. So, and yeah, it was fun but terrible all at the same time.
They can't all
So,
be bangers.
yeah, yeah. Like I said, the ones that you believe could be a real big hit just doesn't work out the way you want it.
Now, for the
So,
first one, you said you had experience with NWC 1990. How?
mhm.
How?
So I have been playing on an emulator at the time. I've been playing 1990 NWC since 2008,
Oh.
and just kind of playing around with that, trying to, improve on my scores. And at that time, the 700,000 was probably my highest score that I hit on during the qualifyings. And I've been messing with the game ever since. To this day, I still do. I've got a gentleman who's been talking with me. He's the current world record holder. He's been working on a task run, and while he's been doing that, he's been fumbling around with actual play, and he recently hit the first 7 million, which is ridiculous.
Mhm.
And I'm sitting at previous world record at a 6.7 million. For a while it was sitting at 4.5 by a gentleman named Frank, um, good buddy of mine, through the Tetris scene. And he had it for the longest time until Rich Ambler, if you're familiar with that name, he was the runner up of the 12 to 17 category in the actual 1990 NWC event,
Oh, wow.
second to Thor Ackerland.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. He ended up breaking Frank's 4.5 by just a little bit. And Rich and I at the time were talking a lot and sharing stories, and we I ended up breaking his record by just a little bit. And then Rich and I went back and forth for like a good 2 years until we finally settled at like a mid-low 5 million. And then he just kind of fell off the face of the earth, unfortunately. And then again, this gentleman who uh messaged me was like, "Hey, I want to do a task run. I want to see if I can get if you can give me any kind of information about the game that you can. Tell me what you know, what are you doing with this? What are you doing with that?" And so I did. And then he switched up the regular, normal stacking for Tetris into a tree stacking method where um he's clearing lines at the very top of the board, which what that does is instead of clearing a single line, it actually counts as a double.
Hmm.
And it's weird to describe it because it's something you'd have to see for yourself. Because, excuse me, when you're clearing that top line, you're clearing that line, and then one of the bottom rows at the bottom of the board clears as well. So the board shifts down,
Hmm.
which is why they call it a double. Again, it's weird to describe. It's just something that folks would have to see for themselves. And because of that method, that's what gets that's what gets you to higher levels faster where the score increases. And because you're so high up, Tetrises are the blocks are coming out faster and Tetrises are easier to get to, and it just everything racks up. And so he managed to um I managed to take his build and then take the last 15 seconds or so and do my own thing, which increased his 6.2 to my 6.7, and then he increased it to a 7.3, I believe. So, and I haven't touched the game since I hit that 6.7 because I've been working on other things like the 1991 Campus Challenge, which is a similar style, kind of the true sequel to the 1990 NWC. I think you're familiar with the games that are on the original NWC, yeah.
Mhm.
So, and for those who don't know, the original NWC has Super Mario Brothers, Rad Racer, and Tetris. The 91 Campus Challenge has Super Mario 3, Pinbot, and Dr. Mario. And again, it's the same concept. You just try and get to the last game as fast as possible. And I'd had that world record for years. Um, just recently, we've had Me and a gentleman goes by Lack Attack. He and I have been going back and forth on the any percent category for the campus challenge, and instead of flying up to the clouds to get coins, what we're doing is we're just hopping on the paratrooper to get up to the clouds and then get to the end of the stage where there's that P block and get the remaining coins.
Hmm.
And that saved like a good 10 to 11 seconds. So recently I changed that method from flying to running and see how much more time I could have on Dr. Mario, and that just skyrocketed my score like a good extra 7 million. Because with the flying method, I was going as high as 26 million. And then with the extra 10-ish seconds, I was able to raise it to get the first 30 million with 33 million. And I don't see that score being touched anytime soon.
I watched like do the speed run. Like you could do it in like under 3 minutes, I think it was.
Yes. Yes. That method plus there was another gentleman that came in and created a different build for Dr. Mario, which made it faster. And he Lack Attack went with that build and managed to get under 3 minutes, because the way we were doing it, um we were just above the 3 minute mark, and then this new build got us under 3 minutes, and he and I are the only two right now that are sitting under 3 minutes. He eventually wants to try the high score, and I absolutely welcome it. Um, the Dr. Mario section has been revamped by various people, including myself. Um, Gentleman by the name of BSG 4000 and Packy 619, both very big in the Dr. Mario communities. Um, Packy was actually the first one to hit 20 million because he redid the build for level 03, which ended his level with like a 16 million. Um, by the time I hit 16 million with my build, I was ending level 4 with that much. So his redoing of how to clear out everything was far more optimal. So that's what we're doing right now. Level 3 is his build. Um
So you get the same
if
piece RNG every time?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. All the viruses are placed at the same spots. The pill orders are all the same.
Okay. So no RNG essentially.
Exactly. It's all fixed. Um, same thing with Tetris
Oh,
on
really?
the
Okay.
NWC. Yeah. Um, Depending on what your score is on Super Mario Brothers will affect your first set of pieces.
Huh.
And then the rest of it will be the same.
Hmm.
So if I ended Super Mario Brothers with a 10,400, like my first three pieces would be an L square square every time.
Interesting.
So, and that's kind of what we're going off of, is memorization of the pieces, where we're putting them, and a lot of trial and error.
I can imagine.
Yeah, I can't fathom how many hours I've put into both of these games and have screwed up so many times.
Yeah. The one thing I do know is like the last game is really all that matters in terms of points. You get nothing in the other two compared to the final game.
That is correct. The multiplier is higher with your score times 25. Well, for the NWC it is 25. For the campus challenge, it's times 100. So anytime you see my final score, like for my 33 million, the score that shows is like a 3 million something, because Nintendo didn't think that there would be a 10 million digit that would ever needed to be added, because they didn't, 1991, nobody would have ever thought that anybody was going to reach scores that high, and they didn't. The highest score was like a 5 million, I think, maybe 4 million. Um and I talked with the gentleman who won the event, Stephen Lucas. I talk to him pretty regularly, and he's been to majority of my record raising runs, including the 33 million, well, both 33 millions that I hit. And he found me on YouTube back when the record was like 18 million. And he's like, I you had to have memorized all this. And I'm like, well, yeah, of course. This isn't random. It's all fixed. And then and he's like, by the way, I'm Steven Lucas, the guy who won the event. And not gonna lie, I marked out a little.
Mm-hmm.
I admit I did the same thing when I met Thor Ackerland and got to play NWC right next to him. Thor's a tall guy, and I'm looking up and I'm like, man, this is awesome. I can't believe I'm actually playing the game with the winner of the event. And all while I'm playing Rad Racer, I ended up crashing too early, so I done screwed up
Mm.
right in front of him. And I was just like, oh well, this sucks.
If you crash, does your game end on the spot?
No,
Okay, well
no. It
that's good.
just Yeah, no, no, no. It just you just don't get as much time on Tetris because
Oh,
you're
okay.
crashing too early. Yeah, the game is set at a fixed time of 6 minutes and 21 seconds.
Hmm.
So I could crash 3, 5, 10 times if I wanted to. And as long as I get to Tetris, my score's legit.
I see. Okay.
Yeah.
I forgot that the way they do the timing is it's for all three. You don't get like a time limit per game. They're all under the same overall limit.
Right.
Okay, that makes more sense
Hmm.
then.
Yeah. So, um, let's see, the 1992 Super Nintendo Campus Challenge. That was actually my very first world record. Um, at the time, nobody had hit 6 million. The games on that are Super Mario World, F-Zero, and Pilot Wings. So basically, your um, the first three of the first games that ever released for the Super Nintendo.
They all launch titles.
I want to say yes.
Hmm. If not, close enough.
Maybe.
I know Pilot
Yeah,
Wings was
yeah.
for sure. I think F-Zero was, and then Mario World had to have been a
And
pack-in at the start, right?
obviously, yeah.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
I think
yeah.
so. I think they were all launch.
I do believe they were all launch titles at some point. But and that made sense.
Hmm.
So with Pilot Wings, it's all it is parachuting and high diving.
Mm.
So there's no hang gliding, no jetpack or biplane, any of that. Um but yeah, they the only the only thing I really did different to raise the score as high as I did was approach the I don't know how well you know Super Mario World.
Decently.
The decent. Okay, so the when you start the game, you go to the stage on the right,
Mm-hmm.
and there's like those 10 red Troopas
Mm-hmm.
at the very beginning. What I do is I twirl jump on the first Troopa at the very beginning of the stage, and then normal jump along the 10 Troopas in sequence, and then stop and then shoot the shell to the left so it adds more points.
Hmm.
So by the end of the stage, I should have like 50,000, give or take. Um, and yeah, F-Zero is it's just 2 laps, a normal first lap, and then you get the boost at the on the second lap, but that's about it. Um, I know there are strats to where you can start boost by having the cars run into the back of you to get you that extra bit of speed, but that's beyond my that's beyond my skill. But a good time to end F-Zero would be about 51 seconds. And then Pilot Wings is just precision jumping with parachuting, hitting the targets, um, and then the high diving is just kind of, you know, find the spot that gives you the most points and aim your diver towards that direction. And then hopefully you'll have enough time to get that last diving section, because by the time you land in the water and the time runs out is like a second or two,
Mm.
as long as the parachuting you're doing that real quick. And ideally for a very quick parachuting, you want to deploy your chute around 300 to 400 without landing and breaking your legs. So, um, it's difficult, especially in the later ones where the wind takes effect.
Mm.
So you also have to turn your guy to make sure that they're landing properly. Um, so I ended up doing that, and nobody's really touched the game since. Um, Powerfest 94. Oh, that's probably the worst one that I've got. I don't have world record on that currently. Unofficially, yes, but because I wasn't recording,
Mm.
it doesn't really count.
No vid, no
So,
did, of course.
yeah, exactly. And it's a bummer too, because when I did it, I was practicing up for a showcase on somebody else's marathon, and I hit that score. I looked at my OBS to see if I was recording. Sure enough, I wasn't recording. I was just like, oh man, it'll be a while till I ever do that again. So, um, yeah. So Powerfest 94 that has Super Mario Brothers Lost levels. Play through the first level. Second game was Super Mario Kart race on Mario Circuit 1. And then Ken Griffey Jr.'s Major League Baseball's Home Run Derby.
Mm-hmm. Was Lost Levels then from All Stars? I assume this is all SNES.
Yes,
Okay.
yes, correct. Yeah. Out of all the competition games that Nintendo made, this was probably the most RNG heavy,
Mm.
because obviously Super Mario Kart, ideally you'd want to get either coins or the boost mushroom. You know, sometimes you get a banana peel, sometimes you get a green shell. You know, you're at the RNG mercy. And then home run derby. Man, don't get me started on that. That is some of the most inconsistent batting you could ever have. You could be in the same spot with the roughly the same swing, and your results will be different every time. And I have not found a sweet spot for batting, and I don't think anybody else has either. And I'm at the belief that there isn't one. So
Well,
which makes getting a high score that much harder.
mhm.
So but but yeah, also I didn't go to these events as a kid. I didn't know about them. Cuz I didn't subscribe to Nintendo Power, so I never knew about them. Um my thing was Game Pro. Um but my friend actually went to PowerFest 94 out in Port Angeles, Washington, and he didn't bother telling me about it. So not that it would have mattered because I had never played Ken Griffey Jr.'s baseball at the time. So, um, but that's kind of my history with the competition games. I'm previous world record holder for Donkey Kong Country competition. I lost that record to a Donkey Kong Country speedrunner.
Mm.
Go figure.
Yep.
I was going to lose a record. I was going to lose to one of them. And Star Fox Super Weekend, that actually is probably the hardest of the six because, Star Fox, you're going so slow. And um and because it's so slow and so choppy, I guess, um you know, you have to be super accurate, and that's hard, especially for um especially when you don't have the FX chip sped up. Apparently that's a thing I wasn't aware of, but I I found that out on my EverDrive for my Super Nintendo that, oh, you can actually speed up the FX chip and it makes a world of difference. It actually makes Star Fox playable and easier.
That's good.
Yeah. But unfortunately, because it's sped up, any scores that I get wouldn't count.
Hmm.
Yeah, so um but yeah, that is my experiences with the competition games. Um Speedrunning itself, I started with Skyblazer for the Super Nintendo because that was one of my favorite games since I was a kid. And I figured, I know this game well enough. Let's see what I can do. And I'm just like, oh yeah, 40 minutes. This is a good time. Well, I'm looking at other speedrunners get like 20 something minutes, and I'm like, oh, this time sucks.
Yep. It's
So,
always how it
I'm just
goes.
yeah. So I'm just like, okay, well, what are they doing? And then that's how I found out about zipping. And I'm just like, oh, that's weird, but that's kind of cool. So I started doing that. I figured that out. There was a tutorial on YouTube, somebody saying, okay, this is how you do it. And you zip up walls. Just like, oh, okay, I'll practice it. And eventually now I do it when I casually play the game. Just be like, Hey guys, want to see something cool? But up and up I go. And they're just like, wait, what? What did you do? I'm like, oh yeah, that's called zipping. It's pretty slick move. You just do this all in the same frame. You gotta look for this, then press these two buttons, and you zip against inside the wall, and then just mash the jump and attack button to go up.
That's all.
And it just to the casual person, it blows their minds, and I enjoy showing people that. Um, so yeah, that was my first game. Then I switched over to Ninja Wars, and there's nothing special, no glitches, no exploits or anything like that. It's just a straightforward beat 'em up and just do it as fast as you can. And um been running that for years. Showcased it at Summer Games Done Quick 2022 when they were doing when they were still implementing remote runs.
Mm-hmm.
So basically what you see here is what you saw on my Summer Games Done Quick run with Ninja Warriors. And that was fun. Showcasing for Summer Games Done Quick. I submitted that game so many times until I got it accepted, and it was so cool. And then got my time down. I think I'm the only person to break 30 minutes. I think I the record is 28:44. And during Summer Games Done Quick, I hit a 29-minute run. So it was, great run. Um, couple flubs here and there, but not a big deal. And then after that, I just started exploring other games, like Ninja Gaiden 3, the Japanese version. I've been working on that for a good year or two, and I still have more to learn. And that's kind of the nice thing about that is, I'm constantly improving with, while still trying to learn how to properly do certain spots of the game. And just recently I hit 1328, and that's currently my PB for that game. I've dabbled with Contra, I've dabbled with Mega Man 2, um you know, Tetris, 100 line counts, and a couple other games here and there. Uh, Castlevania, Ninja Gaiden 1. But I will never get to that level of where people are with those games. Like Contra, I can't mash the buttons the way these guys do. You'd think they'd be using turbo controllers, but they're really not, and it's just my thumb just can't do that. Um, same with Ninja Gaiden, how they mash for wall jumping or wall climbing, whatever you want to call it. And rapid slashing, I can't do that fast. That's beyond what my fingers can do. Um, Castlevania is just I can't do what these guys do with the um frame perfect critical hits that they do. It's just so foreign to me. I mean, I can get the bat critical hit where you hit the bat in one hit and it's dead. I've done that many times, but that's about it. Um, just I'm looking for other things to try and work on. I want to focus more on Super Nintendo, but right now NES has been the thing lately. Um, I the NES edition of NWC. I wanted to talk about that because I know
Mm.
that's your jam.
Yeah, I
Uh,
dabbled quite a bit.
yeah. I I I want to like it.
Hmm.
I the thing that bothers me is the input lag
Oh yes,
on majority of those games.
that was my big turn off from it.
Yeah. Mhm.
I think it's better on the
Like,
Switch too, but
think so?
I think so. Yes, I've tested it a bit. It's
Okay.
not perfect, but I think there's a couple less frames of lag or something.
I'd have to try it. Honestly, I haven't bothered with it since like
Yeah.
after a month of it being released. I mainly dabbled with Balloon Fight
Hmm.
and I was doing pretty well there and then, I just kind of stopped. Just started doing other things cuz Balloon Fight was all I was doing. Um and didn't yeah, it just because of the input lag of all the other games, it just really turned me off of the game.
Mhm.
Again, I want to like it. It's a great concept, especially for those who want to learn to speed run, but that input lag is such a turn off.
Mhm. No, yeah.
So, but yeah, you I believe you ran it during a GDQ a few times.
Yeah, I've done the legendary trial a couple times at GDQs and a hot fix where I did all
Nice.
S ranks in like 2 hours and change. But
Nice. I don't think I've done the legendary. I think that's that's
that's
kind
the
of where
big
I
one.
stopped.
The legendary trial is the big like super cool thing that game offers because the rest are just like small ILs. I guess like the final
Mhm.
challenge of each game can be cool, but the legendary trial just takes the final thing of each game and puts them in one thing. It's like the big 20, but like much smaller.
Yeah,
The small
yeah.
13, I guess.
There you go.
But no, I adore that mode. That's so fun.
Yeah, I admit I have not tried that. Um, I don't think that was ever off. Is it offered or do
You
you have
have
to S rank
to
everything first?
I don't know about S rank. I think you just have to complete every challenge
Oh,
because
okay.
you have to unlock all the S or the all the final challenges for each game because the legendary trial is the final of each game. But
Right.
I don't know what exactly the unlock criteria is. I think it's just beat
Okay.
everything. But
Okay, okay. Now that I've got a Switch too, I might have to
yeah,
revisit
you'll
that.
have to try it out and see if you notice lesser lag. I think I notice it, but I don't know. I could be
Okay.
just telling myself that, but I think it's better. I tried playing around. And I
Okay.
was like, I feel like I'm performing better than I could on the Switch
Mhm.
one. So
Okay. Yeah, cuz when I fired up Super Mario Brothers,
hmm.
oh my god, it was so noticeable.
Oh yeah, no. There's like I was told it was about 6 frames of lag, like a solid zero point 0.1 seconds of just native lag.
Mhm.
I think the Switch 2, it feels like it cuts that in half, or maybe like a couple frames, 2 to 3. But again, I'm just going off vibes, which isn't exactly a good measurement of accuracy. So,
Sure.
but I think it's better.
Yeah.
But yeah, Legendary Trial is awesome.
Yeah, I'll definitely have to try that.
And then I definitely
Um,
would grind some ILs here and there because you can get like TAS ties and quite a few stuff, but
mhm.
at a certain point, some of them get a bit ridiculous.
Yeah, yeah. I've noticed a lot of the time, like like I said, I focused on balloon fight, and some of the times people are getting is just like how,
Mm-hmm. I've gotten one TAS
like,
tie, the pop three or no two. I think it's the pop, the one balloon and then the three balloons in the balloon trip. Not
oh
exactly
yeah,
the hardest things, but oops.
yeah, the one that everybody's got the same time
Yeah,
on.
exactly.
Yeah, yeah, I'm one of those.
Mm-hmm.
I think the first 3 tasks for balloon fight, I'm tying with task time.
Yeah, I don't think I've done the first actual stage one. I know it's not too bad, but I don't know.
Mhm. Yeah, it's easy if you can not hit the side of the platform.
Mm-hmm. It's very easy to hit the side of the platform, though.
God, yeah. Like, even, I dabbled with it on my NES recently,
Mm-hmm.
and it was just like, yeah, this
Mm-hmm.
this is legit. This is not easy.
And if you hit it, you can't get all of them before the last guy gets his balloon. So you just lose a ton of
Correct.
time once you bonk.
Yep. Yep. You'll get at least one.
Mm-hmm.
You'd be lucky to get two, but you're certainly not getting the third.
No.
Um, but yeah, that's probably something else I could dabble with. Basically, what I've been doing lately is just kind of, you know, playing games that I'm really familiar with. Tetris, Ninja Gaiden 3, Contra, um, and just throwing up runs on speedrun.com.
Mm-hmm.
So, and some got a like the Ninja Gaiden 3 is probably one of my more impressive runs for a start.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I'm sitting at like 20 something in rank with that time, so I'm pretty proud of that,
Mm-hmm.
considering the only reason I learned that game was a buddy of mine who comes to my streams. He was the score record holder for a while on that game, and he's like, "Hey, I want to challenge you to a race on that game." And at that time, I wasn't too familiar with Ninja Gaiden 3. Um so I was like, "Okay, were we doing the American or the Japanese version?" And he goes, "Oh, the Japanese version." I'm like, "Okay, all right, I'll do it." 'Cause the American version just sucks.
Why is that? I'm not familiar with the
It
differences.
it is actually much harder. The Japanese version is more forgiving,
Hmm.
and let's see, it allows continues, and the invincibility wheel shows up more often in the Japanese version.
Hmm.
Whereas the American version, it rarely shows up. It makes things so much tougher.
Okay.
Um so I like the first time I had ever played the third one was through Ninja Gaiden Trilogy for the Super Nintendo. And it's like, "Oh, okay." And then I finally got to play the actual NES version. So the race itself that my buddy challenged me on has not happened.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure if it will. He's been pretty busy with other life stuff, which you can't fault anybody for that. So,
Mm-hmm.
um, yeah, I've been working on it. He knows it. He knows I've been grinding at, lowering my times, and just if it happens, great. If not, oh well. It's been over a year since he made that challenge to me, so I'm just kind of at this point, if we get to it, then cool. If not, cool.
Well, you got to learn the game anyway, so there you go.
Yeah. Yeah. It's I always said Ninja Gaiden 2 was my favorite, but 3 is turning out to be one of my favorite over 2. I just personally I like the story on 2 more than 3.
Hmm. You can have
So,
favorites casually and then different in speedrunning.
absolutely. That I think that makes more sense that casually I do enjoy 2 better than 3, but speed running I enjoy 3 better than 2.
Mm-hmm. Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
So, I'm a bit curious, since you've obviously played every, I guess, competition cartridge is the best way to describe them, but I know we briefly
Mhm.
mentioned they brought them back in like the 2010s, and I guess you would have been more familiar with them at the time, but did you do anything with that? Or I think that was like invite only, I guess, so maybe you can't, but like, were you at
The
least familiar with it?
oh yes,
Okay.
yes. I did try qualifying in 2015. Um 2015, was it 2015? Yeah, yeah, 2015. Um Unfortunately, I did not know Dr. Mario the way I do now.
Hmm.
So, I obviously did not qualify to do the big tournament. Um but I'd been talking to um again BSG 4000, who I mentioned earlier about the during the campus challenge talk. He and I had been talking along with some of his buddies out in Columbus. Um we were just kind of going back and forth on, strategies, and this is what I'm doing here. This is the time I'm ending this game here. But Dr. Mario, he was obviously far more familiar with how Dr. Mario worked than I was. Like, I building up for combos and chains was like big combos, like 4 or 5 virus plus.
Jeez.
Those that was foreign to me. I was so used to doing just like singles, doubles, maybe triples if I'm lucky. But it turns out that, actually going for the big combos is the key to success. And I didn't realize that until well after. And I started practicing on the NES remix on how to truly play Dr. Mario. And that's kind of how I learned. Um the what was it? The 2017 event was Mario Kart 7 on the DS?
Seven's the 3DS one.
Okay, okay. Oh yeah, okay, okay. Yeah, that was the qualifying one. They
Hmm.
had Bowser's Castle for the adults and some other track for children.
Hmm.
And they they took the top obviously they took top times for adults and children for each city. And I took 5th in Seattle, as I was going against other Mario Kart speedrunners.
Hmm.
And during practice, I don't even know what I don't even know what my time was anymore, but I was I was consistent in getting that and no less. And then I managed to do it at the qualifying event in Tequila, which is south of Seattle. Um, they the bummer about the qualifying section there was they were having us play on the new. I don't know if it had been released yet. It may have been, but they were having us play on the new 2DS XLs,
Mm, okay.
which felt weird
Yeah,
compared
that's.
to playing on a 3DS XL, which was what I was doing.
Oh no,
Um,
I'm thinking of the original because there's one where like the screen doesn't even close and it's just really weird. But I don't think it was that one.
the 2DS doesn't close.
Yeah, I think
Hmm.
the maybe okay, maybe the XL. Okay, I'm thinking of the new 2DS, I guess.
Yeah, both
I
2DSs don't close.
hmm okay,
Both 3DSs, the original and the XL, they do.
yeah,
But yeah, I don't know. It was just playing on that thing was just weird. It didn't feel right. It just felt uncomfortable. And getting the time that I did, I was just like, okay. I mean, I don't think I'm gonna get any better than this. So, um, what's crazy was the winner of the Seattle event ended up not going.
mm,
I guess he said that something came up where he couldn't go, so the second place ended up taking the spot. And the other bummer about that event was the Miami qualifying was canceled, and they didn't they didn't have a makeup
hmm,
qualifying day for them. So that really upset a lot of people down there
yeah,
that was looking to attend this event. I want to say it was because of a storm.
mm,
So yeah, so instead of 8 cities, they only took 7. Um the what was it? I don't remember if it was 2018 or 2019. They had another one which that was just invite only.
hmm
Um no qualifying, there was nothing. They just had a bunch of people in the industry, a bunch of content creators, um, maybe a couple speedrunners,
hmm
prolific speedrunners.
that might be the event I'm thinking of because I remember one with speedrunners and like content creators.
Yeah, that was the last one, and I think that because you didn't have like the random unknown person or a bunch of unknown people. I think, dare I say it, I think that kind of turned off the spirit of the tournament,
Hmm
I guess, because they were having a bunch of big names instead of people who could actually work their way into a tournament. I think that's what turned off that tournament to a lot of people.
hmm
So, which I personally I think is fair, but you know, not my event. They do what they want. But yeah, I watched so little of that event that I don't even know what games they played. So, but The 2015 event I definitely watched. Um, the 2017. Oh, I watched that too because I think they did Game Boy Tetris, and I was like,
Hmm.
so I am a semi-retired competitive Tetris player, and watching some of these people play Tetris was pretty yeah.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't have anything nice to say, don't say it at all.
All right.
It was bad.
Mm.
Yeah, like you could tell a lot of these people had very little to no Tetris experience, which at this day and age is kind of weird. You know, you like I don't know one person who has never ever played Tetris, you know? And if you probably one out of 1,000 maybe has never played the game at all. You know, it's one of those games where it's so popular, a majority of people have played it at least once. But but yeah, I just remember it being just so bad that people were topping out like within a minute. But again, not my tournament.
So is that the full history of NWC, I guess?
uh yeah, the one with the content creators and speedrunners that we were talking about. That was the last one. Um there hasn't been a and then obviously the
Mhm.
NES edition came out after that, but that's about it. Um I mean, I could probably talk a little more about the original NWC. You know,
Mhm.
the winners of, you know, the winner of the children's bracket went on to play against a Japanese kid for the 1992 Super Nintendo Campus Challenge. Um, you know, and that was a they tried making that a big spectacle. Like they flew his guy's name is Jeff Hansen. He's actually been in a couple of the he was in the NWC NES edition trailer.
Oh yeah.
I don't know if you were aware of
I
that. The older gentleman.
yeah, I saw the trailer. You mean at the very
Yeah.
end, right?
I believe so.
Mm-hmm.
The older gentleman that was like, "Yeah, hey, I'll play." And that was Jeff Hansen. He was the children's age bracket winner of the 1990 NWC. Um he's kind of from my understanding he's kind of kept to himself, kind of like Thor has. Um but and he's retired from competitive gaming altogether. But yeah, they flew him out to Japan to play against the Japanese winner of the Super Nintendo Campus Challenge, and they they put both these kids on TV. They went against each other, and the Americans smoked the Japanese kid, and they were like, yeah, we don't like this too much, so we're gonna eventually have a rematch. We're gonna fly him to America, and then you know have another rematch of this because yeah, we don't like how this turned out.
Okay.
As almost as if the kid from Japan like embarrassed his country, like you know it's one of those of like, oh, you brought big shame because you lost horribly to an American.
It's
You know,
children playing video games.
yeah, I know, but from the stories I've read and heard, that's kind of how they took it.
Hmm.
So they flew him out to America. I want to say during I think it was CEO, COO, one of the big computer gaming conventions back in the day. I don't remember what the event was called, but it was one of those. They tried making this again a big spectacle to where they brought in I don't know how familiar you are with wrestling,
Not
but
very, but
they okay, well, they made a wrestling ring, a tiny wrestling ring with the two monitors and the games
okay.
for the kids to play on. The MC was Paul Heyman, who at the time was going by Paulie Dangerously. They brought in Terry Funk, who was also a kind of an MC, a big Texas name wrestler. I also want to say they brought in Jake the Snake Roberts. I might be wrong on that, but I think it was him. Also big WWF name. You could see him on a lot of the video games. Um, but yeah, they brought these guys in to really hype up this match. And again, Jeff Hansen won.
Hmm.
So the Japanese kid went away with I guess an experience. So but yeah, they did that, and Jeff didn't really do much else after that. I think he participated in the Power Fest 94 at one point. Um that was won by a gentleman named Mike Iorossi, who I've also met. Nice guy. Um, he actually runs the Retro World Championships along with a gentleman named Dorian down in Arizona during Game On Expo. Where what that is they take all six 1990, 91, 92, 94, Star Fox, and Donkey Kong Country, all those competition games in one giant tournament.
Jesus.
Yeah. Um they have been begging me to come down for like 5 years.
They said,
And I've wanted to go. I really do. And I do plan to go next year. Um but yeah, they've been saying, "Hey, when you going to come down and do this? We've had the same two people win each year.
hmm,
We need a fresh face." And I know a majority of people don't know you, but they've probably seen your videos.
hmm,
So um what the funny thing they did last year, when I hit that 6.7 million, um that was around the time that tournament was going on. And what they did, they had their first day of qualifying already, or maybe practice, I don't know, but the they did one day where they could just practice all the games, and then the next day they come in and they see on the leaderboard a 6.7 million.
hmm.
And th- now this is from what I heard from one of the participants. This is the story they told me. They're like, yeah, we came in the next day and we saw that score, and everybody was like, "Oh my god, is he here? Is he actually here?" Yeah,
Yeah.
no, I wasn't there. What they did was they put up that score to kind of joke,
Mm.
and kind of scare people to think that I was there. So, and they're like, yeah, when we found out it was phony, yeah, we were all pretty disappointed. We had a good laugh, but man, that was really mean of them to do that. And I'm like, yeah. Hey, I had no part in it. I that I'm hearing this for the first time from you. I think that's funny as hell, but I had no part in it. But I do intend to fly down next year to actually be there and participate and win,
Mm-hmm. Of
hopefully.
course, of course.
Um, but so that's my future excursion. My upcoming excursion is to Summer Games Done Quick.
Ah, in two
Yeah,
weeks.
yeah.
Coming up
I
soon.
will be. Yeah, I will be running UN Squadron Arcade.
Hmm. I will be
Um.
there.
Oh, will you?
Yes, of course.
Nice.
I
Awesome.
haven't
Okay.
missed. I've since I started going to GDQs, I only missed one event that's been live, and that was like in
Oh, okay.
2019. So I am a
Okay.
yeah,
Okay.
I'm a frequent goer, you could say.
Good. Good. I fly in on Sunday. My
Mm-hmm.
run is early butt crack of dawn Monday morning. Actually, probably not even that.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody will still be asleep. My run is at 1:50 a.m. Pacific time,
Prime time, of
so
course.
about 3:50 Central. Uh, I I have no idea how I'm going to approach this. Whether I'm going to take a nap or stay up all night. I'll play it by ear. Um, but yeah, I've been running you on Squadron Arcade for about a year. Um, maybe a little bit longer, but a year sounds right. Um, then I transitioned that to the Super Nintendo version. Um, and it's so different. Um, I think the arcade version is far more forgiving, and you're at maybe a couple spots where you can one shot enemies, where the final boss is not one of them, thank God. Um, but yeah, I'll be running that game, which I did not. I'll be honest, I did not expect that game to get in. 'Cause I submitted that and the 1991 Campus Challenge, and when I got the acceptance letter or email, whatever you want to call it, I thought it was going to be for the Campus Challenge,
Mm-hmm.
and I was so hyped up for it. And then they said, I read the emails, all right, your UN Squadron run got in. I'm like, oh,
An unexpected surprise.
huh, okay. I will work with this. Because I think the biggest thing what caught me off guard was because I hyped up Campus Challenge so much compared to UN Squadron, where I just put the bare bones minimum. Because I didn't really know how to hype up UN Squadron.
Yeah.
Whereas Campus Challenge, I told this to somebody else on somebody's stream that I think Campus Challenge could put on a fantastic show compared to UN Squadron easily.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just off the Dr. Mario section because because of how you have to play Dr. Mario and just all the big pill building and stacking, the one thing the last part that I mentioned on trying to hype up that submission was that people will watch and be confused at what I'm doing and they will question until I clear that first virus. Then they'll see everything kind of fall to play, and they'll just be like, "Oh, oh, oh," that kind of reaction. That's I think that kind of reaction from the viewers, the casual person, or the people that do know is will benefit showcasing that. Whereas UN Squadron, I'm playing a shmup. I'm trying to beat bosses as fast as I can. I mean, yeah, the first boss, yeah, 5 seconds, okay, done, cool. But I don't know. To me, there's not really much of a like an awe factor like there is with Dr. Mario and how I'm playing that. It's just night and day between the two. So you can kind of see why I was just like, huh, UN Squadron. Okay. I mean, it is what it is. I'll be happy to play it. You know,
Yeah.
I certainly won't say no. I got into GDQ.
And this is your first
So
like in person one, right?
yes, this will.
Mm-hmm.
This will be my first time being at the event.
Well, I definitely say keep trying the other stuff. I mean, obviously there's plenty of
Oh.
events in the future, but hey,
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah,
getting
I
anything in is
intend
cool.
to. Oh, for sure. I intend to keep submitting for the campus challenge until it gets in.
There you go. You see, that's the
Um,
dedication we like to hear.
mhm. Yeah, I really think, if people see my run, my gameplay of that, I think they'll have a better understanding on why that's such a show.
Hmm.
So,
Now, is it a high
but
score showcase or a speed run?
oh, it's a high score.
Okay, I figured.
High
I just
score.
yeah,
Yeah.
that makes a lot more sense.
Mhm. Yeah, my UN Squadron run is a speed run 1cc.
Hmm.
Um so yeah, about 20 minutes of the game, and should be about it. I PB'd the other day with a 2019. My former record was like a 2021. And then some gentleman from China, I don't know how he did it, but he's got like a 2003. I like I'm doing practically everything that he's doing, one-shotting certain bosses, and just like, what am I doing differently that he's doing that I'm not? So I'll figure it out eventually. But but yeah, I will be in Minneapolis from Sunday afternoonish to Wednesday afternoon. I can't take that much time off work, unfortunately.
Yeah.
So I'm lucky to get the 3 days.
Hmm.
So yeah, my run is Monday at 3:50 Central Time. Um, the two guys I'll have on the couch with me are two of my best friends, um, who hardly know the game,
Hmm.
but
Which is the perfect
I
situation, honestly.
I've yeah, I've helped them out. I've made notes that they can use. We actually did a kind of a test session this last Thursday, and I don't think I've had such a greater time playing UN Squadron than that day. Um, just the banter and the um, just everything that was said was it. God, it was so much fun, and it was like you know what? After that, I think a lot of my jitters for the actual show went away because I didn't know how this was going to go because they don't know the game as well as I do. But I feel like I've given them good enough notes where they can have a good understanding of the game itself. My best friend's gonna talk about kind of the lore of UN Squadron, aka Area 88. Um, like from the anime, the manga, and everything else along with it. And my other friend is, he's gonna spit facts about the game, and he's the chatter, so he's gonna be doing a lot of the, you know, poking and prying and cracking jokes while we kind of just follow along with that. And that's what made that session so much fun. And it's like, you know what? If we keep that same energy for the run at GDQ, I think people are going to enjoy that. That's gonna be a good run to watch.
Yeah,
So
good preparation.
yeah, yeah. When I did Ninja Warriors in 2022, didn't we had a few times where we were doing online marathons through other streamers, and that was kind of our practice. Um, but my commentator, he actually knew the game, not to a speed running level, but to a casual gameplay level. So he knew what was going to happen, what to expect from each enemy, each boss. So I didn't really have to make specific notes for him on, how I'm approaching things or how I'm doing things. He already had the idea, which was nice. But and it was still fun. I feel like it could have been, you know, how you feel like, it probably could have been a little more entertaining in some way, shape, or form. Um, we just didn't have that kind of dynamic compared to my other two friends, but we still had enough to where we were like, hey, this is funny, heck, stuff like that. Um, but yeah, this UN Squadron will be a fun watch. I think people will enjoy it.
Well, that's all
If
that
not,
matters, right?
if not for the gameplay, but for the banter itself. Oh.
Oh, too
What?
weak.
Yeah, yeah, I've been waiting for like the last. I've been waiting for the last month. I'm just like, July can't come fast enough. Um, we'll also be celebrating this trip actually. Um, as a birthday gift for me and one of my friends on the couch. My birthday will come after the event, so I won't be, we'll be celebrating, but the whole happy unbirthday, not quite your birthday, but it's close. Whereas my friend, his birthday will be the day we leave, which will be Wednesday the 9th. But we do intend on being at the event quite a bit.
Mhm.
So, um, we're gonna be. I'm debating if I want to bring. Maybe you can answer this for me. Do they have like free play rooms?
Yeah, so they have an arcade. The
Mm-hmm.
games kind of vary. I think you can look it up somewhere, but yeah, and since you're a runner, this is going to be very nice for you. Their main like common practice room, they have pretty much every console and you can just take it. So, They probably don't
So
have
if I
every
were to,
game, but you know, if you bring your own devices and stuff, you can hook them in any console
okay,
they have.
okay, so if I wanted to say like bring my EverDrive
Yep. Yeah.
and play Campus Challenge, I could.
Mhm.
Okay, that's good to know.
Um, Technically anyone can rent out their consoles, but you have to like leave your license with them. But if you're a runner, you can just take it.
Okay.
So you just go up, show your runner's
Huh.
badge, say, "Hey, can I have that console?" And they're like, "Yep, here you go." And that's all it
Okay.
is. And then there's tons of TVs to hook it up to. It's mainly monitors with retro
Okay.
things now,
Okay. Okay.
but yeah, you can just take any pretty much any console ever made, you know, within reason.
Yeah. Right. Right.
That wouldn't be a problem for what you're suggesting. So, yep.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Now that it's been mentioned, I'm bringing a Mr. Pie for my run. That I have to. It's a tiny little black box with, you know. Yeah, I'm sure you're familiar with Misters.
I've heard of them.
Oh,
I've
okay.
played on one once. Like that's the like hardware emulator, right?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've tried. Someone brought one, and I tried it out at a
Okay.
speedrunning event, but that's about my knowledge is pretty limited. I just know it can emulate quite a bit of consoles.
Yeah, yeah, and they're still working on
Mm-hmm.
lots more.
Yeah.
Um, that's what I'll have to be bringing that because there's no way I'm bringing this.
Yeah.
Mm-mm. So my best friend and a bunch of other friends kind of pulled together and got me a Mr. Pie for my birthday or Christmas. Yeah, one of those. Um, so I'll be bringing that plus a few necessary hookups. The I think the biggest thing I'm bringing is this.
Ah, yes. Very good.
Yeah. So, yeah, that's what I'll be playing on. I got to make sure that everything's set up the way it needs to be. Buttons are laid out the way that I want them. Um and that way all I have to do is just make sure it's all hooked up, works proper, and off I go. So, deciding, I haven't really figured out how I'm gonna bring all of this. If I'm gonna have to bring 2 bags or one. Uh, I'm hoping just one, so I don't have to pay extra fees for my baggage.
Mm-hmm.
So I might have to, disconnect the joystick from my pad and have that separated, and then once I'm at the event, I can screw it back in, get it all ready and such.
Mm-hmm.
So that way nothing happens to the joystick itself. I had to replace this recently because the previous joystick bracket or mechanism stopped registering left,
Mm.
and it's a shmup. I kind of need that direction.
Yeah. Sounds
So
important.
a little bit,
Yeah.
a little bit. So yeah, so I had to buy a separate mechanism for it, and mm, hey, works great so far. And knock on wood, nothing happens to it. But yeah, that's the setup I'll be using. Mr. Pie with the fight stick, and then after that, it's just fun times.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna meet up with some other friends that are in the area. Go find some good food places. Hopefully, my friend wants to hit up a Twins game.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
Plenty to do.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. If I'm not going out somewhere to eat, I'll probably be at the event doing something.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah,
but
it'll be a good first experience.
yeah. Yeah, this is definitely a bucket list for the three of us, and we're both very very stoked to attend this thing. Like once we got our flights taken care of, we're just like, this is actually happening. Oh my gosh. We're actually going to attend a GDQ event.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my gosh, you know, that kind of. So yeah, we're very much looking forward to it. Are you coming in on Sunday, or are you part of staff?
No, this one I'm just going. I was
Oh,
really
okay.
lucky the past like couple of years. I got into like every event with some run, but not this time.
Okay.
Oh well.
No.
So I'm just going to go,
Oh, okay. Well,
which
shoot.
is
I
which
mean,
is what I used to do. So
oh, okay. Yeah, unfortunately, because of location, it's not as convenient for me.
yeah.
So I've I've stuck around the Pacific Northwest for conventions, PAX West, SoccerCon, Portland Retro Gaming Expo,
Mm-hmm.
SideQuest Expo, and maybe a couple other smaller expos or conventions on top of that. Oh, Washington State Gaming Expo.
Yeah, I
Um,
went to PAX West last year for the first time.
yeah, I didn't get a run in on that one. I submitted Campus Challenge too.
Mm,
And I think I submitted UN Squadron also.
well,
So I'm hoping not next year, this year.
mm-hmm.
Um I'm hoping this year to get in.
Yeah.
I know another friend of mine who run Chrono Trigger. I know she tried to get in, but she didn't get in either.
Mm-hmm.
So she ended up doing Flame, Fatales,
Mm-hmm.
th- those uh those events. So hopefully with that experience under her belt, maybe, if she tries to get into PAX West this year, I'm rooting for her. Hopefully she'll get in.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm hoping that, hoping for Campus Challenge, because like I said, I think once people see it, it's going to be a great show.
Yeah.
So. Plus, I don't have to travel as far.
Mm-hmm.
I take
True.
Yeah, the light we have a light rail now that goes literally from the town I live in to the convention. So I have to pay maybe all of $3
Mm-hmm.
just to get to the event.
Oh
So it's
no.
like, yeah, I know, right? I mean, it beats $30 of parking unless that went,
Oh god.
which which I wouldn't be surprised if it did.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know if you know this, but parking in Seattle.
I was there last year. Anytime we were on the road, the group I was with were on edge the entire time because driving in Seattle is terrifying.
It's fun, isn't it?
uh, it's like an inescapable maze of bullshit. I don't know. I can't
I
say I'd
know.
recommend it. Um,
Yeah, if you are so used to driving in, we'll say, conditions that are mellow, and that's all you know,
I've
you
never
are not
seen a
going to have a
five-way intersection before. It doesn't work very well. Yep.
That's my city.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, if I ever
Yeah.
got to PAX West again, I'd need to actually get in the hotel that's like near the convention before it sells out
Mm-hmm.
and just not have to worry about driving because that was an experience we all will never forget, I'll say.
Yeah, no, like I said, driving in especially in downtown, man,
Mm.
it sucks.
Oh
It is
yeah.
not fun. You see, you've probably have seen it. There's a lot of one ways,
Mm-hmm.
and there are people that don't really follow that.
Mm. I
If
don't
you
think I
haven't,
saw
if
any
you
of
haven't seen
that.
it for yourself, consider yourself lucky.
Okay, I guess we were lucky, but
Yeah. Um, there's always someone that's just like, oh, I don't think I'm supposed to go this way. But
the
but
thing I
yeah, no,
remember
if
is it was impossible to sometimes with even with GPS know where to turn, and if you miss a turn, oh well, you've added 10 minutes to your trip now.
mm-hmm, that sounds
So
about right.
yeah.
I would also, for for cost's sake, um, if you could find like a hotel that's outside of downtown and like within walking distance of the light rail, I know there's one around. If you do make it to PAX West, hit me up. I can suggest a hotel that's close to the light rail, literally within walking distance, and probably cheaper than you'll find in downtown.
Mm.
You probably had to add another, 10-20 minutes to your travel, whoopie do because of stops, but it's it'll probably be worth it.
We'll see.
Um, yeah, yeah, yeah. As long as, like I said, as long as you take the light rail, to and from, I think you'll have a much better experience in driving on in Seattle conditions.
Mm-hmm.
I-5 may be a different hell, but you know, it's I-5.
Also, the airport. My God.
Oh my, oh god. Yeah. Oh man. People are man, people are stupid at the airport. uh yeah.
Anyway.
And yeah, man. Heaven forbid you're there for more than a minute, trying to either pick up someone or drop off. Like if you're there for over a minute, you're there too long. And the security or police or whoever's out there, they will let you know.
Mm.
Be like, hey, that's enough. Get going. You're here too long. Go, go, go. We got people coming. So, but yeah, if some people have, I guess, have cheated the system and instead of departures, they go to arrivals where there's not as much traffic,
Mm.
which works just as well. So, SeaTac hack for you.
Good to
If
know.
you ever, yeah, if you ever come to SeaTac and you're having a terrible time trying to get to arrivals, or sorry, departures, go to arrivals.
Well,
But
I think that's enough shitting on Seattle. Uh, we could probably be here all day doing that, but
yeah,
I'll try to get back on
yeah,
topic here.
yeah, no worries.
So, obviously we talked a lot about high scores in the old Nintendo challenges, and I know
Hmm.
the one campus challenge has the speed run for it. But did you like do the speed run route for any of the others?
No. I
Fair.
mean, so the Nintendo World Championships was, I mean, I didn't really do anything like when they made the categories. for at speedrun.com. They just took my high score run and just said, "All right, this is what your time was. This
Hmm.
is what we're going to use to start the category." So they used my for both Campus Challenge and NWC. They used my record runs to start the any percent categories. And so I mean, and it wasn't obviously wasn't intended to be speed running, in that kind of a category where, like they made a category for 25 lines and then 50 lines. And again, they just used my record run for both just to kind of get a starting point. Same with Campus Challenge. They ended it at level 3 instead of when time ran out.
Hmm.
So, Campus Challenge, I mean, to me, Campus Challenge is more fun to do in any percent than the NWC is. Um, but it's that's about it. The other two, because they're not really available for emulation. I mean,
Hmm.
PowerFest is supposedly, but the Super Nintendo Campus Challenge is not. They haven't really found a way to um properly emulate that game. Like I have the ROMs specifically from the owner of the motherboard of that game. He that was a big thing too when he released those ROMs on, I want to say, Reddit. Um he sent them to me first, and he said, don't distribute these
Hmm.
until I'm ready to release these ROMs to the public. And I did. I kept them to myself until he released it to the public, and then I told my best friend, who's also interested in preserving these ROMs. I said, "Hey, I've got these. You might be interested in it." And he's like, "They're just these are just the original games." I'm like, "No,
Hmm. Hmm.
no, they're not." Like, what are they? These are from the Super Nintendo Campus Challenge motherboard specifically. And he's just like, "Yo."
Hmm.
And like, "Yeah, let's keep these safe because
Hmm.
these are important." But yeah, we don't know anybody that can actually work on those ROMs to where they can make the game playable. Um, and so they're just kind of out there doing nothing until someone does. So yeah, so because that and the PowerFest aren't really all that accessible for emulation, like on emulators for PC, um, or or EverDrives. Yeah, they
Hmm.
don't work on EverDrives either. So they're not accessible, and nobody really has a way to you know add more categories to these games, like a speed running any percent for like the SNES Campus Challenge or PowerFest 94. So we just kind of stuck with a high score aspect because they're not easily accessible, unlike the NES Campus Challenge and NWC, where they're now accessible on pretty much everything to an
Hmm.
extent.
Yeah.
Like they just put the proper mappers onto the EverDrive N8 Pro for Campus Challenge, and
Mm.
that took over a year to do because everybody was just like, why can't we play this on EverDrive? Oh, we're missing a specific mapper. So somebody's been in contact with like the guy that makes the EverDrives. Is like, hey, how can we add this specific mapper to this thing so that this game is playable? Then they finally did. They made an update, got the proper mapper, and now
Mm.
it's playable on EverDrive. And I think that's why the other games don't have speedrunning categories, is because of accessibility.
I see. Okay.
Hmm.
Yeah. I just remember stumbling across the 1991 because it had Mario 1, so, quickly got the
Three.
speedrun record.
Mario 3.
uh, I'm talking about 1990.
Oh, okay. Yeah, they made so many categories for that. They made a single category for Mario, single category for
Mm.
Rad Racer, put Mario and Rad Racer together, then Rad Racer and Tetris together. It's just like, why?
Mm.
I don't understand it. Why?
Hey, I got an easy Mario 1 record. It stood for like 4 years. I think it was beaten like a week ago, finally, or something.
Yeah,
But,
probably by the guy um that I was talking to that has the high score record.
mm,
He basically took everything.
I see. I
Yeah.
might have to try again. I knew my
Yeah,
underground was bad, and it was.
like how bad were we talking about?
I could just tell like the movement wasn't that clean, and that so apparently there's frame rules in between your deaths, and you have to like death to get more coins optimally. And I didn't get
Mhm.
the optimal one for the first cycle, and then yeah, so
Okay.
I can do better.
Yeah, the way he does it is I it's amazing because when you come up from underground,
Hmm.
there's those two Goombas and that question block there.
Yeah.
He manages to get the question block and get in between the two Goombas, and I
Oh
can't
yeah.
do that on purpose.
Oh, I.
Anytime
That's
I
what
do
I
that, it's
do.
by accident.
I didn't
Yeah.
find it that difficult, but maybe it's because I've spent a lot of my life in Mario 1 only, so.
Okay. Yeah, not me. I mean, the only ways I've done that section is either um stomp on the Goomba and get the question block and then kill myself on the second one,
Mhm.
or just run into the Goomba and say forget the question block.
Mm, I see.
Yeah, those are
Yeah.
the only two ways I've done it. And like I said, anytime I've gotten the question block and between the two Goombas, it was by accident.
Mhm. Yeah, it's
But
definitely not easy, but
he told me how to do it. Like he got into a voice chat that I forgot that I was still in.
Mhm.
And he was like, yeah, he was showing me all this stuff from his run and all these little different frame perfect type stuff. Specifically slowing down to the checkered flag on Rad Racer. What he ended up doing was, instead of crashing into the tree, he waited until the last vehicle got close to him, and just like one quick tap over into the dirt, you can ride that dirt and slow down at the same time, while not hitting a tree. There's that little bit of room there, and supposedly that's the faster way to stop, compared to crashing.
Hmm.
He said by like 3 to 6 frames, I think he said. But yeah, he went crazy on, you know, how things work on that game, and rightfully so. He's got every single number one spot for that game. Um, and yeah, he plays the Tetris section faster, which you know, I had both his video and my video going, you know, at the same time, and I'm just like, how did he do this so fast?
Hmm.
I know he's not quick tapping. He's not quick tapping. He's not rolling. He's using DAS,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm also using DAS too, and yet my pieces aren't going this fast. What am I missing here? But yeah, he is literally put in the work. He deserves all those top spots, I think. It's crazy what he's done with it.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm all for it. I think it's fascinating.
Yeah, I mean, the fact there's still active competition. What,
Yeah.
35 years later?
Yeah. Yeah.
There you go.
Like, you know, I thought it was going to stop with between Rich Ambler and myself at 5 million,
Hmm.
and then in comes this guy. It's like, yeah, hey, I'm looking to hit 6 million. I'm like, huh, go for it. Let's see what you got. And he hit 6 million. And I was like, I'll be darned. It is
He did
actually
it.
possible. Yeah. And then he goes, I'm gonna go for 7 million. I'm like, you know what? I believe you. I'm not gonna fight you on this. You proved me wrong with 6 million, and you approached me with that same confidence. I think you'll get that 7 million. By God, he did.
Mm-hmm. So 8 now.
It's uh
Mm.
8. Uh, I think he said humanly possible was a 7.6.
Oh. Wow.
And he's sitting with a 7.3. Yeah.
I didn't know that was
TAS
the
he hit
cutoff spot.
Yeah, TAS he hit 14.
Oh, okay.
But you know, TAS.
Mm-hmm.
Those pieces are flying across the board.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's yeah. I don't think anybody's going to hit 14. 8.
We'll see.
I don't know. I don't know. With 8 million, it's more of a we'll see when it happens. But right now, he's sitting pretty comfortably with that 7.3.
Mm-hmm. Well,
I mean, I don't even know if I'm going to be able to hit that, but we'll see.
mm-hmm.
We'll see how it goes.
Yeah. Well, speaking of Tetris, I definitely wanted to talk about that some more as well. I, recently got back from CTWC first time.
Okay.
First time watching a Tetris event. I'm kind
Were
of
you there with Eyeball?
uh technically there was a big Mario 1 speedrunning tournament at the event as well.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Um
Wait, Eyeball does SMB2, doesn't he?
he does both, but yeah.
Okay.
2J Lost Levels, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
But yeah, apparently there's a lot of overlap between the two communities. I wasn't really aware of. Like, Blue Scooty has speedruns Mario 1. I know Fractal was really interested in our tech being there. So And
Hmm.
I didn't really follow Tetris at all until the Summoning Salt video, and then
Yeah.
I started getting into it. But ever since I got back home from that event, I've been pretty addicted to Tetris content now. I don't know about doing it myself, but
Okay.
just watching it is like very fun. But obviously you'd be a little more familiar with the scene and Nestris, so.
So I'm not so much the modern times, but the older generation. Um, before, like when hyper tapping was getting introduced.
Mm-hmm.
That was more my time. Um, I um I qualified my first time in 2017, and at that time I was a more casual Tetris player. I had never maxed the score or anything at that point, um, and had a very bad first game. Uh, like immediately eliminated.
Mm.
So nothing. I mean, I almost made it in 2016, which would have been my first time, but I was sitting at the final seed, able to qualify and get into the actual tournament until the qualifying time was completely done. Somebody had just had enough of a score to bump me down to number 33.
Mm.
So, yeah, so I missed that by just a little bit. Um then yeah, 2017 happened, I qualified and immediately eliminated. 2018 also qualified, won my first match, then went against the we'll say the originator. Oh, I can't even say the originator hyper tap, but the way he hyper taps was Corion
Mm.
from Japan.
Yeah.
Went against him. Obviously didn't beat him.
Yeah.
Yeah. The but he's a sweet guy.
Oh
I
yeah.
I really like Corion. Uh, all the Japanese players that I've met, Corion, Green Tea, and SQR, they're all very sweet people.
Mhm. Yeah, I'm pretty
Very, very
sure
nice.
they were all there. I saw them all.
SQR wasn't.
Or maybe not him, but I know
Uh,
Corian Green
but
Tea.
yeah,
There were a couple others that I don't know the names of, but yeah.
yeah. No, and well, what really brings joy to me is Green Tea is still using the controller I built for him.
Oh, how about
Mm-hmm.
that?
Yeah, he's got the clear green buttons on his controller.
Hmm.
Yeah, I did that for him,
How about that?
and yeah, and he's been doing it ever since. Uh, 2019. That is probably the year people don't like to talk about.
Hmm.
Um, so I did qualify. I beat my first round opponent, and then my next opponent was Jonas Neubauer,
Hmm.
and I he beat me round one. He topped out round two, while I was ahead of him by points.
Hmm.
And then round three, he topped out again, and I was behind. And I came back to beat Jonas in round ones, and I was the first person to ever do that. And
Wow.
I'm actually
I forgot it
I'm
was
the
best of
only.
three back in
Yep,
those rounds, not best of
yep.
five. Okay.
Yep, best 2 out of 3.
Wow.
Um, I'm the only person to ever beat him in round 1.
Wow.
Yeah, yeah. There were a lot of very, very.
Your mic did not like that sentence. I didn't hear any of it.
Oh, sorry. I was saying there were. Oh, I see what you did there.
No, like it literally didn't
There.
come through, but
Oh. Sorry. Okay, no. There were a lot of mad people that day.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
How dare you? Yeah, what the...
Yeah, I know, right? Yeah, there, because you know, Jonas is or Jonas was the face of CTWC.
Mm-hmm.
He was the man. Everybody loved him. You couldn't, you and nobody else could say a bad thing about this guy.
Mm-hmm.
He was so genuine and one of the nicest people on earth. Um, I'm, my heart's racing right now.
Yeah.
I miss him terribly. It sucks that he passed away when he did.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but yeah, just because he was so well known and so liked by everybody, and everybody in who view CTWC on Twitch, everybody knew his name. To see him be defeated in round 1 by some random nobody, hi, um, it upset a lot of people
Yeah.
because they weren't going to see their guy in the finals like every other year.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it's just I I I wish I could ask him, you know, what he was feeling going against me. What, cuz I never really talked to him about, his feelings during that match. And I would love to know. Um So yeah, I ended up doing that, and then I was defeated the next round.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, like I said, there were a lot of people that were not happy with how Jonas went out. Some people were even saying this is why there should be a double elimination because of stupid crap like this. He should have never been beat. Blah blah blah. Stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I had somebody. I literally had somebody say to me, "Yeah, you should have never beaten him. You had no business beating him." And I'm just like, guess what? It did. I'm sorry that you
My
don't like
bad.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm like, I'm sorry that
Upsets happen all the time in Tetris. I've seen so
yeah,
many.
and
Like it.
that was literally the year of upsets.
Uh-huh.
Jonas went out in round 1. Harry Hong went out in round 1.
Mm-hmm.
Jeff Moore went out in round 1. A lot of these big names went out in round 1 to people like me.
Yeah. And knowing them, they're not upset about it. Well, maybe they're upset about their performance, but they're not going to be upset about the people beating them. Like these are the
Yeah.
nicest human beings you'll ever see. I don't know why people are getting mad in their like this isn't what they'd want, you know?
Mm-hmm. I with any tournament, I will, if I know I perform bad, yeah, I'll be pretty mad about it.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm not going to be mad at the person
Yeah.
for doing better than me. No, I'm going to sit there, shake their hand, say, "Hey, congratulations, great job. You know, best of luck on
Yeah.
your next round or 2 or 4."
Everything
You
I've
know?
seen in classic Tetris is just healthy competition. So I know,
Yeah, yeah.
regardless of upsets, no one would be upset about how overall how the tournament goes. But Yeah, I know.
Because
People just don't
nowadays,
see that. They just have their idols and that kind of
yeah,
thing. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Like when Joseph came into the scene at 2018,
Mm-hmm.
um, well, he came in at 2017, but he really shined in 2018.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and then again in 2019 when he and Corion hit the finals. Um, you know, Joseph was he was a sweet kid, real sweet kid. And even in 2018, I didn't stay for the full competition because, travel stuff,
Mm-hmm.
when you travel with friends, they want to go and you can't stay.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I made sure to lock eyes with him and say, "Hey, go get him. You've got this." You know. And sure enough, I found out later that hey, he won,
Yeah,
you
and
know.
I think that's the most viewed Tetris match ever.
Oh, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. What 16-year-old beats seven-time champ?
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
it's really just
And
an incredible story all around.
yeah. Yeah. Um so yeah, unfortunately after 2019 was when I started developing hand and finger pains.
Mm, yeah.
So, and it happened a lot specifically playing Tetris. Which is kind of why I say semi-retired. Like if I'm at an event and a, Tetris thing is happening, I may jump in on it,
Mm-hmm.
but like in year-round active competition, nah. Nah, I'd rather save my fingers and
Mm-hmm.
um not have to deal with, the pains in my fingers, my wrists. Um like it got so bad at one point where after one game I couldn't hold my controller.
Wow.
Like it if I could describe it, it felt like my fingers were stiff and I had like weights strapped to my wrists.
Mm.
Like my hands felt so heavy and I could barely, you know, I couldn't even clench a fist. That's how bad it was. And I said that, this was during an online league and I told them I can't play anymore. And they basically said, "No, no, no, you have to." I'm like, "No, I don't. I I don't think you understand what's happening here. I can't I can't grab my controller. I cannot my fingers hurt.
Mm-hmm.
They're in so much pain right now." And they said, "Well," basically said, "Well, this I don't think this guy's anywhere near the Tetris scene anymore." But he was just like, "Well, yeah, we need you to do this. Whether you're going through pains or not." I
Mm-hmm.
was I I was so pissed off at him because
Yeah.
I was like, I messaged him after my match was done. I somehow won,
Oh.
but yeah, I couldn't tell you how, but I messaged him after. I said, "I'm never doing this again, and don't you dare ever make me do that again. That was not okay,
Mm-hmm.
and don't don't you ever do that to anybody, not just me, but anybody ever again."
Mm-hmm.
So, and I think I think after that season, he stepped down. So, and I haven't really done online competition since. Because
Well, it makes sense if it's
yeah,
painful.
I'd rather be able to do other things and work on speed runs of other games than constantly grind Tetris and just end up hurting my hands.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah. I
and
mean,
I've noticed that, and I've heard that other people have gone through the same things.
mhm.
Um, I've heard it with, I'm a DAS player, so you would think it wouldn't hurt, but no, in reality, it
Oh,
did.
no. Yeah, anything where your hands are doing the same motions over and over again that,
Yeah,
isn't
it was.
normal. Yeah, it
Yeah, it
pain
was
can develop.
painful.
Hmm.
Hmm.
I get
And
pain
then,
sometimes.
oh,
Like,
yeah,
yeah, it happens to everyone.
and then when hyper tapping started becoming a thing, and that got more. I started hearing about people
Hmm.
getting hands and finger pains with that
Oh,
because
yeah.
you have to like stiffen your arm and your wrist and your fingers and literally mash the D-pad. And um I've also heard it happen with the rolling too, that people are getting hurt doing rolling.
Although I also
So
have heard that it's not as bad than a hyper
I
tapping.
yeah, it's definitely not as bad as hyper tapping.
But certainly not,
Um
a normal hand movement to do constantly. So I can understand it developing
right. Mhm.
bad things.
I mean I can't say anything because I haven't successfully been able to roll.
Hmm.
Um I can't figure out how to really hold the controller. I mean, it's some of the way some of these people do it are so foreign to me that I'm just like I don't know how you're doing it. I see it, but I don't get it.
Hmm.
Um but yeah, no, it's just I mean, it's great how much the tournament has progressed and that there are a lot of new faces coming in and placing high,
Hmm.
and doing miraculous things like crashing the game, literally looping the game back to
Rebirth, yeah.
level 0 rebirth. Yes. Um just it's uh, I personally I would hate that. I would hate that grind.
Yeah.
Um it's just but it's fascinating.
Hmm.
Um and anybody who's done either or both, deserves all the praise because they're doing things that have been unheard of for 30 plus years. And with Scooty, being the first to crash the game, beat the game, and it's just like wow, this is unheard of.
And now everyone's heard
And
of it.
yeah, now everybody's heard of it. Now there's like 10 plus people who have done the same.
Hmm.
And I think only one has reached rebirth,
Yes.
unless I'm mis
No, there's only one rebirth right now. Oh,
I believe.
oh, my internet's crashing out a little bit.
Uh-oh.
There we go. Okay. Yeah, there's only been one rebirth.
Okay, yeah. But yeah, no, it's crazy, and again, it's fascinating that what some of these people have done with this. And you know, and again, going back to Jonas, I would love him to still be here to see all of this happening, because he would probably have the biggest smile on his face.
Yeah.
But yeah, other than that, I haven't really participated in um the actual CTWC events. Um, now that they've moved down to Pasadena.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, they still
yeah,
have the
they
DAS only in Portland.
yeah, the Jonas Cup.
Mm-hmm.
I did that last year.
Oh, cool.
Um, let's see, they what was it, 2022? Was 2022? They did a Legends tournament, and what that was basically DAS only, specific age group, and you had to have been in a CTWC beyond 20 from 2018 and previous.
Hmm.
So,
Interesting.
yeah. So I mean, there was a huge turnout, but it was a nice small turnout.
Mm-hmm.
You had people like myself, Jeff Moore, Ben Mullen, um, Jeff's wife, Packy, um, Frank, the old NWC world record holder, and Josh Tolles and Matt Bucco. I think Terry Purcell was in that as well. Um, it was just a nice small 8-16 person tournament. It was nice. That I think is what helped start the Jonas Cup. Because you had it was all DAS. They wanted to see how it would go, and then again next year, the Jonas Cup happened.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, the Legends wasn't anything serious. It was, just it was a fun little thing for the older generation. Um, the matches were, some were long and some were short, just like the back in the days. So it definitely had the old feel to the older CTWC matches. Um, I ended up placing second.
Oh, wow.
Um, yeah, I made it to the finals, my only finals in a CTWC setting. um, and I choked huge on that match. Um, Matt, who was also the finalist, he had he had one less match than I did. I had to do a round. I played Frank, who, like I said, was the old NWC record holder, and they specifically had us face each other because
Mm.
we were at some point world record holders for the 1990 NWC. So they're just like, yeah, this is what we're gonna do for round zero. We're gonna have a theme for each match. Like me and Frank was that. Packy and BSG 4000, um, big Dr. Mario players. The Dr. Mario champ versus the Dr. Mario tournament creator. He founded the world tournament. So they did that. And they had a couple other matches. And then you had people like Jeff Moore and Matt Bucco and Josh Tolles and Alex Kerr. Oh God, how could I forget about Alex? Yeah, those guys who they kind of seeded top four, so they kind of had a bye in round one. I ended up playing Jeff Moore the next round, which was probably very easily match of the tournament.
Mm.
Our games were fantastic. That's probably one of the best matches I've had in Tetris competition was against him that evening. And then I went against Josh Tolles, who was sporting his little Tetris cosplay. He had like the S and Z piece on his shoulders. Um, kind of like Thor from Valhalla look, and yeah, I thought it was fun. But yeah, like I said, the tournament itself was nothing serious. You know, we were there was banter between the commentators and the players, some friendly trash talk, stuff like that. It was fun.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, and yeah, that's pretty much my experience with CTWC. I'm probably not doing the actual tournament, like I said, because it's now moved to Pasadena. But Jonas Cup I may do if I feel like it.
Hmm.
But um, but yeah, that's kind of the um. Oh, um let's see, my first max out was early 2019, like January 2019. Um, and then I hit 19 more before the 2019 CTWC. And I had said that I wanted to get 10 by the time CTWC came around. And then somebody said, "Nah, go for 15." Okay. And so I did. And then they said, "All right, now go for 20." I don't know. And I hit my 20th one like a week before CTWC. Um, a friend of mine who I met at a Tetris tournament um at a local game store here in North Seattle. That tournament was so great. It was just her and I that showed up. So they said, "Well, how about we do 9 sets and whoever wins the most just gets the store credit." So, at that time I hadn't watched, Jonas was streaming on Tetris on his channel, a lot at that time. And the girl I was going against, she was watching me play and she's like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "I'm playing Tetris." Like, why are you doing this? Why are you doing that? Like, what are you talking about? Because apparently the way I was playing at that time was wrong,
Ah.
according to her. She's like, "You're piece dependent on this. You're double line dependent. Blah blah blah." I'm just like, I didn't know any of this terminology at the time because, like I said, at the time, I was a casual player that just happened that could score a 4 to 500,000. And she's just like, "I don't like the way you play. You play weird." I'm like, "Thanks. I still beat you though.
Mm.
So what? You play weird. You need to watch Jonas in his streams." I'm like, I at least have heard of him. And I'm just like, "Okay. Why? Why do I need to watch him? You need to watch how he stacks. You need to watch how he plays, how he does. He does it the right way." I'm like, "Oh, I didn't know there was a right way to play Tetris." Um, Again, me not knowing. So, and so I watched him, and just like, and he did teach me some things.
Mhm.
Um, he taught me. He showed line spins, which I was just like, "That's weird." And I mean, I rarely spin lines because I do my darndest not to. But if it happens, then all right, it happens, whatever. But more often than not, I stay away from it. I will find another way to fix it if my board is kind of Swiss cheese like, yeah, he did teach me a few things. I sent in what he did was he would also oh, what's the word I'm thinking of? Like where I would send in a run and he would look over it. Trying to think of the proper term for it, but adjudicate. He would adjudicate my run and he would just be like, "Okay, this is good. This is good. Here's what I think you could have done differently on this spot. Instead of doing this, you could have taken this piece and did this. So that way you're set up for that and any future pieces to come." So, so yeah, he did that, and I took those words, and applied it um, to my stacking, and because of him, I got far better at stacking than I was before. He would, he would help me a lot in that regard. Um, and then when I told him I maxed out for the first time, he was just like, "Dude, that's awesome." So, and I'm just like, "Hey, thanks to you, you were a big help in this." Um, yeah, so that's about the extent of my uh me and the Tetris scene. I did another Tetris tournament before the one that the girl and I did in Northgate. Was out in Bellevue, east of Seattle. And again, I'm a casual player. Um, I went in. There were a lot more people attending this gathering, and they're like, "Yeah, this is what we're gonna do." Or it's like a 5-minute time limit, and just get as high of a score as you possibly can.
Hmm.
And yeah, we'll time you when 5 minutes are up. That's it. This is your score. And it's like, oh, okay. Uh, so here I am practicing like level 10 plus, where everybody saw that and it was just like, we might be in trouble here.
Mm-hmm.
So, I was like one of the first three to go on the first round, and they were all watching me, how I stack, how I was playing, how high I was stacking, because level 0, it's so slow that
Mm-hmm.
you can afford to stack high and still Tetris and whatnot. Um like I ended up getting the highest scores on each round and winning the store event. Um what I thought was funny was after I'd gone, there were a few other people that were like, "I should do what he does." And I'm just like, "No, don't do it." don't don't copy me.
Mm-hmm.
It'll be bad, I promise. And one guy actually did end up trying to stack the way I did, and he ended up topping out like within 2 minutes. He's like, "I thought it would work." I'm like, Dude, that's the one thing I tell people: don't ever play like me."
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, and, and yeah, like, and they were that's I the staff knew me as the Tetris guy because nobody was able to play as well as I did in tournament. There's some of them I'm still friends with, which is nice all these years later. Um, but but yeah, I Jonas, like I said, Jonas Cup. If I feel like it, yeah, I'll participate. But I think CTWC is pretty much done for me. I don't see myself going down to Pasadena to participate. 'cause I've got other stuff that I gotta deal with. Got, life.
Pesky life.
I know, right? How dare it?
Yeah, true. Well,
So,
is there anything we haven't gone over that you've done?
um, I don't think so.
Yeah, touched on
I'm
everything.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
Basically, I'm I'm more well known for the competition games, and I think we covered those pretty thoroughly.
Mm-hmm.
Um, did my time with CTWC, and it's been fun, but I'd like to keep my fingers pain free, ideally.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just, yeah, do speed running, play some games, pick ones. I don't, and just have fun.
That's
Yeah,
what matters most.
yeah, yeah. So yeah, no, I think that's about it.
Good deal. Well,
Yeah.
I think you kind of went over like future plans and ideas, but if there's anything else to look forward
Um,
to.
I'm hoping to. My biggest goal is I want to showcase Campus Challenge
Mm-hmm.
um in large audience settings. I think it would be like I said, I think it would be a great show for people to see. You know, just
Such.
how it works, how I do it, and just marvel at what looks like basically what looks like I don't have a clue of what I'm doing to oh he knew what he was doing this entire time.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I want to do that. I want to do that PAX West. Crossing my fingers that they'll allow me in for that, and then and again for GDQ. I really hope to showcase that there, and I think it would be a phenomenal performance.
Mm-hmm.
And then beyond that, I don't know. We'll see when it happens.
Yeah. Well, if that's everything, I'll. The final thing left to do then is you can self promote however you want.
Okay. You can find me on Twitch at twitch.tv/mega retroman. I'm on X/Twitter. I'm on Blue Sky. I'm on YouTube under my first name, Mega Retroman, last name. Um, if you can't find that, just search up Nintendo Campus Challenge. I'm sure you'll find me. Um, I'm probably one of the first videos that pop up. Um, yeah, you find me at GDQ between July 6th and July 9th. Um, my segment will be on July 7th at 3:50 a.m. Central Time. And GT, I hope to meet you in person. That'd be wonderful if I
It'll
could.
be hard to miss me. I'm there all the time.
All right. Well, if I see you, I will be sure to come up to you, say hello, shake your hand, etc.
Please do.
I will do just that. And anybody else, anybody else that wants to say hello, I welcome a hello and a handshake and maybe a bro hug. I'm all for it. I I will be sans glasses. I wear contacts, but I'm just wearing glasses for the weekend. But yeah, you'll pretty much see me in the same garb. Probably a hoodie, a hat, and yeah. So I won't be too difficult to miss.
All right.
But
Well,
yeah, thank you again. Thank you for bringing me on to do this. I really do
oh,
appreciate it.
absolutely no problem. Thanks for coming on and talking
Hmm.
retro gaming.
Yeah.
It's nice to have a different perspective because, I'm usually speedrun focused, not really high score in terms of like Tetris and challenge cards and stuff. So,
You know, before we end it, the one thing I'm surprised I didn't mention this. If you think about it, the competition games are not just high score, but you're playing them fast.
it is a
So I
mixture because you're
I
trying to get
do
to the
think of
last
it
game.
as
Yeah.
yeah, I do think of it as a speed run as well, not just a
Mhm.
high score, which is why I would like to showcase, these type of games,
Mhm.
you
Yeah,
know,
it is a
and
unique combination.
because a lot of these people haven't seen it, so I'm able to showcase something new to folks everywhere, which
Mhm.
which is nice. Um, and then like I said, campus challenge, that's my jam now. Um, I want to showcase it, and I'm
Well,
hoping I can in a large audience. That's all I could ask for.
mhm. Well,
So,
the only
but
way it could never happen is if you stop trying. So, someday.
that yeah, I'll keep doing it until it does. Like I said.
That's the spirit.
Yep.
Well, I guess that'll be all for today. So, thanks for watching, everyone. Um, follow the Twitch, follow the YouTube for future episodes and stuff. Every Sunday, we try. So far, so good. I think that's all I got. So I'll just click the end button now. So
All right.
take care, everyone.